of the underlying asset. What if this is actually not the case? What if the ETFs will be used initially to manipulate the price on the back end to keep prices down until laws are passed and regulations are implemented? That leads me to the last portion of today's video. Something that I honestly have been pondering on in the back of my mind, but Yava beat it to me, or beat me to the punch. So he said here, I have an odd maybe conspiracy mid question here. ETFs and precious metals. Historically, we have seen ETFs used to manipulate the prices of commodities, specifically precious metals. In the past year, we have seen the COMEX and LBMA delivery times steadily increase from T+1 to T+8 weeks. This has been happening due to structural shifts in the market and other reasons I will not get into here. But the ultimate result is that prices of precious metals have been steadily increasing. Here's my thought. There's been a continual mantra amongst influencers that crypto ETFs will drive up the demand and therefore the price of the underlying asset. What if this is actually not the case? What if the ETFs will be used initially to manipulate the price on the back end to keep prices down until laws are passed and regulations are implemented? Much of the market on-chain is visible, but once ETFs from the big players really take root, what if they are used to actively suppress prices in the same manner as gold and silver? The narrative around crypto ETFs might actually be a rug pull. Maybe tinfoil hat on. And reading that, I literally could not agree more. Like 110%. Now, obviously, of course, there's a bunch more dynamics to this that somebody could go in with all kinds of credentials and stats and this, and that, mathematical statistics or whatever. But let's just look at the freaking fundamental headlines. Like, this is crazy to me. Okay. And we'll just take a look at two assets that I'm super bullish on long term. And you could do this for a multitude of assets. Like I said, I left XLR out of this. I left Aptos out of this. I left XRP out of this. I left Solana out of this. I left all these assets that recently have seen ETF launches, inflows, or pending ETFs on the radar. And none of them are performing well. Most likely, though, again, on the backdrop, if you take a look, right, at the Solana and XRP ETFs, those would be more so the ones to focus on. But I didn't want to go through and pull up a bunch of fundamentals to waste everybody's time. So I just wanted to show you guys two examples. This is crazy to me. Super bullish fundamentals, but ETFs launching and nothing, dead. So what if this theory is correct? What if these institutions, think about it, they are not going to buy super aggressive with leverage like all the retail traders have been doing over the past, since the crypto market recovered in 2022 years, right? What is that? Oh, going on 4 years, right? They're going to buy spot, or they're going to buy in an ETF wrapper with no leverage, safe and sound, and they're going to want to do it at the lowest price. So what if all these ETFs are launching, influencers, the shillers, are thinking that it's super bullish, which, mind you, long term, it likely will be. But what if in the short term, they're getting in, selling, dropping the price to shake out all the leverage that is in the market via retail and early investors and adopters of these assets that got in dirt cheap, to then buy back in at pennies on the dollar after everybody is bleeding and beaten up? Makes so much more sense. Now, again, like I said, there's probably going to be somebody that's like, oh, that mathematically doesn't make sense. Whatever. I'm not here to argue that. I'm just here to throw the theory out there and show you that it kind of looks like that's exactly what's happening. Check this out. So you guys know that we've been talking about Canton Network recently. This was huge, and this is just from yesterday. This screams, why the fuck is Canton not at a dollar plus right now, right? But we go look at the fact that it's got an ETF behind it, or an ETP, and it's straight up printing new historical lows for the first time ever, right as these announcements are happening. To me, that screams manipulation. Digital Assets, the creator of the Canton Network and a leader in privacy-enabled blockchain technology for global financial markets today, announced a new strategic investment from BNY, iCapital, the NASDAQ, and S&P Global. What? And we're printing new lows in the market? The participation reflects the accelerating convergence of TradFi and decentralized finance towards an all-fi future on the Canton Network. These investments build on digital assets' strong momentum following recent funding milestones and underscore the growing institutional alignment behind the Canton Network, the only public permission layer 1 blockchain designed for configurable privacy, institutional grade compliance, and the ability to support hundreds of billions of dollars in on-chain real-world assets. And there was a bunch of bullish things said from the CEO of Digital Asset, the head of global clearing at Credit Service and Corporate Trust, BNY, the iCapital CEO, the president of freaking NASDAQ said, we're excited to deepen our relationship with the Canton Network as we continue to build the next generation of institutional market infrastructure. Like the CEO of NASDAQ? What? And Canton's at new lows. But if you go and you look at what's recently taken place this month, also November 18, 2025, 21 Shares announces the launch of 21 Shares Canton Network ETP, expanding access to institutional blockchain innovation. Blah, 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 right? You get it? We take a look at what took place this past month. They posted an entire Twitter post on everything that they accomplished in the month of November. Check this out. The Canary Stake Say ETF was listed on the freaking DTCC. Binance becomes a Say network validator. Nearly 30 million of real world assets landed on Say in 2 months, led by assets from BlackRock, Hamilton Lane, and Apollo. USDC went live on Say on Binance. Robinhood listed Say. Binance US and OKX listed Say. OKX Japan added Say. Say surpassed 100 million blocks produced. Say surpassed 4 billion lifetime transactions, and the list goes on. Monaco appointed Goldman Sachs Alom Shumrai sign as CEO. This Monaco platform is built on Say, right? So you guys get the gist. But what just recently took place? December 3rd, 2025. New, following Vanguard's embrace of crypto ETFs, Say is now part of a select set of altcoins accessible to 50 million Vanguard customers via an ETF. So, again, I'm not saying that this theory here is right or wrong, but to me, I'm just saying, like, it low key kind of looks like, again, there could be different schematics involved in this theory, but overall, you get the gist. It looks like they are or have been enticing retail over the past consecutive couple of years with all this hopium, with all this hype. Retail took on leverage, expecting it to happen and moon their bags overnight. Now they're utilizing the ETFs as a backdoor to crack and crash the freaking markets. Again, speculative. I'm not saying that that is or is not happening, but it makes sense if they were, right? To then buy all these assets like Canton that's shaping global finance, like freaking Say, like Aptos, the list goes on, like Solana, like XRP, at pennies on the dollar after everybody is done and tired and saying that crypto is dead, right? So you guys catch my spiel. So that is how I'll, excuse me, end today's video breakdown. You guys got a three-part piece. Optimistic lifting tone to let you guys know that I'm not bearish by any means on crypto. I still have a very optimistic long-term perspective. You guys now also know the fundamental backdrop, why intraday we're seeing sell pressure on crypto. And then you also have a more speculative piece to kind of go off of. Again, just something I'm putting out there. I could be right. I could be wrong. To me, it's exactly what it looks like is happening. But nonetheless, we're all just here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure that you guys are paying attention and studying this weekend. Enlighten yourselves. Don't forget, I've now added, so if you guys want to check out some of the books that I'm going to be reading in the CYPRX Discord, because there's literally thousands of them. Myself, Break Free from the Matrix, a few other people, predominantly Break Free from the Matrix, has shared literally hundreds upon hundreds of esoteric religious texts, Freemasonry, astronomy, like the list goes on. So much juicy information here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading thoroughly through different chapters of these different books. And I'm going to be doing all of that over on the Library of Awakening, YouTube, and Twitter. So you guys can go over to cyprxtrading.com if you want to follow that journey and you want to listen to those videos. And you guys have the YouTube here and the Twitter here for Library of Awakening. All right. With that being said, outside of that, I will see you guys heading into next week.